have a couple of webcams that I'm testing in the studio right now, and these webcams are from the most popular companies that make such devices, and the video that you're seeing right now is actually recorded on some of those webcams. One of them is the OBSBOT Tiny 2 Lite webcam, and the other one that it's going to go ahead and verse is the Insta360 Link 2. Now, this is video that you're seeing from those two webcams. I won't tell you which one is which, and we'll do, a number of tests so that you can determine for yourself which one you feel is better in certain aspects. But I won't stop there, as I have 4 webcams that I'm going to be comparing against each other right now. So the other one that I have is the OBSBOT Meet 2 webcam, and I'm going to go ahead and compare it to the Insta360 Link 2C. Let's begin, the various tests that we're going to be doing. The first one is lighting. Now, I'm pretty much well lit in the studio right now. You can see how the two cameras holding up. Like I mentioned, one of the cameras that you're seeing is the OBSBOT Tiny 2 Lite, and the other is the Insta360 Link 2. Now, do you feel one looks better than the other? I feel like, both these cameras look pretty good. The appearance is amazing. And something cool that both these webcams support is gesture control and tracking. So you can see if I move to this side, it's tracking me. If I move to this side, they are actually both tracking me, which is good. Actually, let me try and stand up just to show you how they look. You can see. And then if I go down, it's pretty good. They're tracking me and they're good. The color and the video that I'm seeing right now looks pretty good on both, actually. And these support gesture control. So if I wanted them to track me, if they were not, I just raise up my palm just like this, and since they were already tracking me, if I do this, then they will stop tracking me by raising my palm. I noticed that with the Insta360 has a problem with detecting my right palm for some reason, because every time I raise my right palm, it's instead of recognizing the gesture that I'm doing, it doesn't. But then when I raise my left palm, that's when it recognizes me. So that's why you can see that the Insta360 is still tracking me, even though the OBSBOT stopped tracking me, which is what I wanted. So now it's mixed. So if I raise my left palm like this, you can see now the Insta360 responds to my left palm, which I don't know why. So the OBSBOT seems to be more responsive in terms of gesture control right now. So now you can see the OBSBOT has began tracking me and the Insta360 has stopped. I began with tracking on both, and I raised my palm to turn off tracking, but one of them didn't recognize my right hand, but now it's just mixed up. But yeah, you can see what I mean by this. So that's the first test. Maybe you are curious about how these two cameras handle different colors. So you can see the two boxes that these cameras come in. If I put them here, you can see how, the both of these devices are bringing them forward. If I go to the side like this, you can see. If I go to the back, you can see. And then if I go to the top, or if I bring them just like this with my face, you can see how they look. If I bring one box in the middle just like this, you can see how it looks. If I bring this one, you can see how, it sort of focuses and so on. So you get the idea between the OBSBOT Tiny 2 Lite and the Insta360 Link 2. In terms of the appearance, this is how these two devices fare against each other. You can see that the Insta360 Link 2 is actually slightly bigger than the OBSBOT Tiny 2 Lite. So if you're looking for portability, maybe there might be a factor to consider right there. Both these cameras have pretty similar CMOS 4K footage, which is what you're looking at right now. But let's go ahead and actually test the low light performance of this camera. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and turn off one of my lights just like this. You can see, with just the main key light that I have, how these two devices look. Oh, by just raising my palm like that, they just both actually tracked my left palm. Like I mentioned, my left palm, this one is able to detect, unlike the other. But yeah, you can see how they sort of look when it's like low light performance. I'm going to go ahead and turn off all the lights actually. 3, 2, 1, boom. You can see how it looks when my key light is off. And yeah, this is actually the cameras that you are seeing right here. Like I mentioned, one of these is the OBSBOT Tiny 2 Lite and the other is the Insta360 Link 2. I'll go ahead and turn on my key light just like this. You can see how the cameras sort of, like they're shocked, like what's going on, but you can see how they quickly adjust. And then I'll turn on my backup light just like this, and you can see how these cameras both react. Both of these cameras support portrait shooting, and actually OBSBOT has a software that you can use to be able to control your camera and access other additional function, and so does Insta360 as well. They develop software that you can use to be able to interact with the cameras and access more new features. If you're wondering which is which, this is actually the results segment. So this one that you're looking at is actually the Insta360 Link 2 right there, the one that I'm looking into right now, and then that one is actually the OBSBOT Tiny 2 Lite that you are looking into. And in terms, if you're wondering as well how much they cost comparing to, if you are comparing these two devices, this is how much each of these devices cost. Like I mentioned, I had 4 webcams that I'm comparing, and we are on our second set, which is what you're looking at right now. And of course, that's the OBSBOT Meet 2 that you're looking at. One of these cameras is the OBSBOT Meet 2, and then the other one is the Insta360 Link 2. This is how these two cameras look side by side. These ones are sort of more budget friendly compared to the first set that we reviewed and compared, and this is how the appearance looks in terms of the video quality. Let's go ahead and actually look at the way these devices perform. Now, color wise, this is how it looks. This is just plug and play that you're looking at, no editing, nothing like that. One of the things that I wanted to let you know is that these devices, of course, don't have the tracking, unlike what we saw with the previous set. So this is what you get, but they do have a feature that's called auto framing, where they sort of zoom in and then they're able to sort of use like some sort of zoom to try and keep you in the frame, and both of these devices support that. In terms of how the color looks, you can see the video right now, but now if I was to bring these two devices here, you can see how the boxes look. If I put the boxes side by side, just so you see the color and the size of the boxes and how they look, this is how these two devices compare against each other. Now, in terms of the physical appearance of the devices themselves, the OBSBOT Meet 2 actually looks pretty unique. It's like a small micro mirrorless camera, which is like a cool aesthetics, and it comes in other cool fun colors that you can select as well. Both devices support the same CMOS 4K footage, which is what you're looking at. And yes, I won't tell you which is which, of course, but now let's go ahead and look at the low light performance of these devices. So I'll go ahead and switch off this light, and you can see how these two devices look. And if I was to go and then switch off my main key light, so that you see it's just connecting on my device right now, and now I'm gonna go and turn off my Amaran light just like this, and you can see how these two devices look in terms of low light if you were going to be shooting. If I turn the lights back on, you can see how they both like get shocked, and then they're like, oh, and then they slowly start to adjust. And now if I was to turn on this light, you can see how they look on my face. I would say that one seems to sort of have a brighter picture in low light, which is pretty good, but both look pretty well in my opinion. And then another thing I actually wanted to do and test is the autofocus. So if I bring this box in frame, you can see how they look. I'll try, keep it in the middle and cover my face. Take it out, you can see how they adjust back and then down. Now I'll do with the Insta360 Link 2C box, and then you can see how they sort of adjust right there. Now that's pretty good. Both these devices support portrait shooting and some form of gesture control as well. And in case you're wondering which one is which, this is actually the one that is the Insta360 Link 2C that you're looking at. So it's this camera right here, the one that my finger is covering, and that's the Insta360 Link 2C, which means the other one, which is the OBSBOT Meet 2, is this one that you're looking at right here, the one that I'm covering with my finger. And this is how the footage looks. And of course, like I mentioned, both these devices support the app control, which allows you to be able to use more additional features. And the price that the Insta360 Link 2C comes in is this, and then the price of the OBSBOT Meet 2 is this. One thing I need to highlight is you can see how the Insta360 Link controller that interacts with, you know, all the 4K webcams from Insta360, how this is how the interface looks from the get-go. And then you can see how the OBSBOT Center looks, which is the one that, you know, interacts with the OBSBOT webcams. And I think, you know, looking at it, I think the aesthetics of the OBSBOT, in my opinion, looks more pleasing. And then if you want to get like preview and other things, you can click there and then you get a preview of how this looks. But these two cameras, and in fact these 4 cameras that I've been testing here, are pretty good. And these devices were actually sent to me by their respective companies. So OBSBOT sent me the OBSBOT 4K webcams that I demoed in this video, and Insta360 sent me their 4K webcams that you saw in the video as well. I think I did a couple of videos on them in the past, and this was more of a comparison. But let me know whether you got the guesses right on trying to figure out which one is the OBSBOT and which one is the Insta360. And I'll leave links to the OBSBOT and all these devices in the description, so that if you wanna grab one for yourself, you can do so using the link in the description. Other than that, that's about it for me. If you like this video, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.